So installing Gentoo can be a long and lengthy process, which is why the Gentoo install script has been made. So if you go to the link in the description, you can see I've linked the GitHub page. And for this install, you're going to need a live CD. I have this Google Doc linked in here. Almost any live CD will work as long as you can install Git. I recommend using the Arch Live CD as it will automatically download required programs or set up ZFS support on the fly. And obviously, I'm going to download the Arch Linux ISO from here, and then we're gonna make our VM. So here I am in a 𝓔𝓪. You can use any virtual machine like VBox, VMware. I just like using 𝓔𝓪. But I'm going to create a new virtual machine, local install media, and then we're going to browse, and we're going to use the Arch Linux ISO, and then you're going to choose Arch Linux, and then you're going to want to at least give this system like 4 gigabytes of RAM, because you're going to be using swap forward. It doesn't matter how much space you give it, but I recommend dedicating at least like 20 gigabytes or so. I'm not going to do that many as I don't really see a need to. So I'm just going to name this Gentoo install and 15 gigabytes. Finish. Choose that volume, and then that's our custom storage. So I'm just going to name it Gentoo. Customize configuration before install. Finish. So if you're using VBox, this is going to look a little different for you, but you're going to go into the CPU tab, and you're going to set your cores to 2 and your threads to 2. You don't want to overload your CPU. If you have more, then you can set more, but don't try to overload it, or else your computer will overdrive and you'll be screwed. So, and then if you have this much customization, you want to use a SATA disk instead of like all these other ones, because SATA is the most reliable. We're going to hit apply, and we're going to begin installation. So now that we're in the Arch Linux installation medium, I'm going to wait for this to do it. You can use any live CD you want. I just prefer the Arch Linux one. So first what we're going to do is we're going to do Pacman, or whatever your distro manager is called in the live CD you're using. 𝓔, you can use your package manager. But mine is Pacman because I'm in Arch. We're going to do Pacman, 𝓔, git, and we're going to get git, and it's going to update our system. So you're going to proceed with installation. It's going to install git. Do git clone https://github.com/odd-lma, I don't know how to say that, llama, I guess, Gentoo-install. And it's going to clone that, and we're going to cd into Gentoo-install. We're going to hit ls, and you're going to see this you're going to see the configure file and the install file. Right now we want to go to the configure file, so we're going to do /configure, and then it should ask us if we want to install all these missing programs, and we're going to hit yes. It's going to update our system and ask us to proceed with installation. And now that we're in here, we're going to want to check off all these things. So if you want to use swap, you can use swap. I'm going to put mine to 4 gigabytes instead of 8, because I don't want to be using that much swap. And boot type, I recommend setting it to EFI, but BIOS will work just fine if you're on a VM. We're not going to use Luke's encryption. If you want to, go ahead. If you're on, it depends on your VM or hardware, but if you're running hardware, you could just use SDA. If you're using a SATA connection, if you're using M.2, it would be different, but for me, I'd be using VDA because I'm in a virtual machine and it's using 𝓔𝓪. If you're using VBox, you'll just use SDA, but for me, I'll be using VDA. We can just hit enter if it decides to work. Okay. VDA does not exist. SDA? Yeah, it's SDA. Depends on what device you make it. And the host name, I'll change it to 𝓔𝓪. Time zone, you can change it to whatever time zone you like. I'm going to change it to my time zone. Key map, change it to whatever you want. Don't touch this because you might mess it up. Locales, you can keep that. You can keep that. Configure network, enable SSHD and init RAMs. Don't worry about static IP. Now, the stage view variant and init system, it kind of depends on like if you're new. If you're new to Linux, I really don't recommend you use Gentoo. But if you want to, use systemd. But if you are new to Linux, then not new, you're pretty good with Linux, then I recommend using like OpenRC or like something like that. I'm going to use hardened OpenRC because I personally just like using hardened software. And then the Git mirror and the Gentoo mirror, you can keep it the same. The Gentoo architecture, just keep it the same. Don't run mirror select. Enable binary packages. Don't worry about this. And additional packages, you can just type in whatever you want, like neofetch. We already have Git installed, so we're not going to need to worry about that. But just install whatever you want. I'm just going to do neofetch. And then we're going to hit save. And we're just going to keep that name, save. Then we're going to hit exit. Then, you remember that install script? We're going to go there, /install. Should take us there. Do you want to install all missing programs automatically? Yes. Then it's going to update our system, and it's going to ask us to install these, and we're going to do that. So once we installed all those programs, it's going to ask us, do you really want to apply this disk configuration? Yes, we do. And then it's going to apply it in 5 seconds. And then it should install everything pretty easily. And the one issue you're really going to have is just waiting for it all to compile and just do all that. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to go do some other stuff. So now that we have finished our compiling and all of that is done, we are going to assign a root password. We're going to enter our new password. And now we're done. We can just reboot. And we're going to log into root. So we're going to type root and then the password that you put in. We have our fully compiled system here with neofetch installed. I recommend installing a few other things along with it, like sudo and some other stuff. But yeah, that's a minimal, glow-free, and a pretty effortless install.